Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. So I hope you can hear me okay. I tend to have a loud voice, so hopefully everybody can hear me. So let me tell you a little bit about myself because some of you don't know me at all. I have been in college admissions over 20 years. I am a certified education planner, and then I was with Montgomery County Public Schools for 20 years. I've been here for the last 2 since I retired. Before then, I was a reader, application reader for Clemson University, and I was also on the board for high school counselors for Auburn University. So I have a lot of experience. I love what I do, and I research every day what's going on and the new things that are happening out there. So we felt it was necessary to let you know what was going on. Obviously, this is new for all of us. None of us have been through anything like this ever before, and neither of our children. So so it's a good thing for us to just kind of go down what is going to be like for their junior year. It's obviously going to be different, and we want to walk through that and let you know what to look for, how to help your child, and things to just to make them feel better about the process. The thing that I want to tell you too is I think 11th grade, being a junior, is probably one of the hardest years. Academically, it's a hard year, and emotionally, it's a hard year. This is not making it any easier to not be with your classmates. The thing that you have to remember is they still get a lot of pressure, even though they're not in school hearing it every day. They still are seeing it on Facebook and Twitter and all of the other social media outlets that, you have to take 15 APs to get into college, and you have to have really high test scores, and you have to do certain things. And I think that hearing that constantly as a junior tends to be a little overwhelming for them. And they just feel like they're not going to live up to the hype and what they need to do. So the answer is yes, they will. And the answer is to tell them to put earplugs in or to have blinders on, because they don't want to get caught up in that and get so competitive that that's all they worry about. And they also don't want to feel like it's worthless. It's not worth trying. Is. So let's move into our agenda and where we are with the changes and what's going to happen for your children, okay? So what do colleges want? You see it on the screen. The most important thing, the essential thing, is your transcript. I can't stretch that enough. The transcript is the #1 thing that they look at. They look at a rigorous course load. Now, remember, this is going to depend upon your child. So if your child is taking all honors classes and getting A's in them, then yes, they need to challenge themselves and go into an AP class. Or if they're in if they're in a school that offers IB, and they have that chance to go into IB if they're not already, then they need to go into an IB class. So it's important to know that being in honors is, yes, a great thing. But if they're striving and they're getting the A's, they're ready to move up and to take another higher level course. If they're in honors classes in certain subjects and they're getting C's and they're kind of struggling a little bit, this is not the time to put them in an AP class to increase their GPA just because it looks good on a transcript. You want to go into a class, the student wants to go into a class that they feel comfortable or feel prepared for, and they're able to do really well. It also has to do with their interest as well, because when a student loves the class, they do really well. So this is important for them to remember. It's not a matter of how many IB or AP, IBs, and honors classes. It's a matter of their passion and what they like to do. And again, if they're in honors classes and they're struggling, it's really essential not to put them into an AP class and watch them suffer even more. So, and colleges don't like that. They really do not like to see students with, C's in a class for an AP. Now, does it happen? Absolutely. And, it could have happened in their 9th or their 10th grade year. That is something that can be explained, because I feel like some students are, again, pressured into taking APs and not ready for them, or they were told by their counselor, it's just a good idea, everybody else is doing it, and they felt like they had to be. However, this is the time for them, if they're walking into 11th grade, they have that choice whether they're ready to give themselves the extra load, the extra course load to do that well. But if they're in 4 AP classes and you feel that's going to be a little much for them, or they feel a little overwhelmed, this probably is the best time to reach out to your child's counselor and say, we've been thinking about this over the summer, and due to COVID or due to my son or daughter not learning very well online, whatever the case may be, you may want to rethink that and get into an honors class and lower it from an AP. Because again, if they got C's in an AP class, it's not going to do them any good. Let's put it that way. First of all, it doesn't bump up their GPA. And second of all, what does it tell a college? It tells a college they weren't ready. So again, think about their interest, what classes they love, and those would be the classes that I would encourage them to push forward and do an AP in. Please don't misunderstand me. I don't want to tell you to not take APs. I just want to make sure that they're really careful, because this junior year is one that is critical. The grades at the end of this junior year are what colleges are going to see on the transcript. So that's important for you to remember, that GPA at the end of this junior year is essential and one that they will be looking at. So just so you know that, and they're going to get enough stress anyway, but put them in classes that they're ready for. So let's talk a little bit about standardized test scores, because it's a topic of everyone's. Even elementary school kids are talking about test scores, which is kind of sad. But the thing that you need to know is, yes, you're hearing all of the stories in schools that are changing their rules, and they are changing to test optional. We're going to talk about what test optional means, and we're going to get into standardized test scores, but just know that they may be very different for your child than they are for the senior that's walking into their senior year. So again, and very important, we're going to talk about them. Well, the other thing that we're going to talk about tonight a lot is extracurricular activities and what they can be doing now, and what kind of service they should be doing and what kind of activities they can do. College application essays are always important, not for them right now. This is not something that they should even think about. This is something that they should know it's going to come, but there's no need to wrap their heads around writing an essay at this point in their high school career. Recommendation letters, same thing. It's not something they have to worry about until spring. And again, the recommendations will not be written until the fall of their senior year. Character. Well, character is something that colleges look at, and we will go through that. They like to know they love the word grit, and if all of you know what that word means, it will show on an application what grit is. And I will tell you that is the buzzword around colleges right now, is grit. So unique talents, knowledge, passion, and their realistic goals, what they want to do, their confidence building, how they power through when there's trouble, that type of thing. That's what I mean by grit. So let's move to the next slide. And then, Okay. Oh, what does that mean? I'm sorry. So looking ahead, what needs to happen right now for your son or your daughter is they need to be self-aware of who they are and their learning style. And if they're struggling, they need to tell you, Mom, Dad, I'm having a hard time in this class. And then you need to get them help, whether it's help through MCPS or you, yourself, your husband, your aunt, your uncle, your grandparents, tutors, whatever the case may be. This is not the time to let it slide and say, okay, well, they'll make it up, because this year again is important. But they also need to tell you, they need to be, genuine with you and tell you where they're struggling. They also need to know what their goals are, what they want to do in the future. This is something that they can start thinking about now. And I find all the time, I get talked to seniors and they're like, I have no idea what I want to study. Well, yes, we're 16, 17 years old, and who knew what we wanted to study back then? I changed my mind 15 times. So, but they have interest and they have things that they do like. So explore that passion and see if that's something that they want to do. We're fortunate enough now to have things on the internet that helps them find their personality mates and helps them realize, I'm really good at this and this is something I might want to pursue. So that's the biggest thing we need to take away, is to be self-aware and getting ready for that year. And again, same thing. The approach to college admission is a process. Right now, the first process to figure out what you are doing about testing, and the second is to think about our grades seriously and what classes we're taking. So it's a process. You do one step at a time, and then 2 years from now, in 2022, your child will be headed off to college. Okay, so let's look now to what testing means. So there are the four things that you're going to hear a lot. And one is test optional, the other one is test aware, the next one is test blind, and the other one is test flexible. So the one you're hearing a lot about with all colleges is test optional. And you've probably been hearing that a lot of the schools are going to go test optional for 1 year for the seniors that are coming up and that will graduate in 2021. Very true. Very, very true. There are an enormous amount of schools that are saying they're only going to be test optional for 1 year. There are some schools that are saying that they will be test optional and then they will look at it at the end of this year and they will make a decision. But the thing that you need to understand about test optional is it is just what it says. If you have the scores, you send them. If you don't have the scores and for some reason you can't get testing done, or some reason you feel your child is just not going to be a good test taker, then that's when they're going to really look at that transcript. But please understand that your child is also going to be competing with kids that did take their test and do have exceptional scores, and they will be competing against them even if it is test optional. So test optional means just that, but it also means you have to be aware that they're competing against students that do have scores. So by the year 2022, there are not going to be anywhere near the amount of schools that are test optional as there will be for this year. It just won't happen, because a lot of the schools determine a lot of their programs, their specific programs like engineering or computer science, business, those types of programs, they depend upon test scores to see where the child is and if the child is college ready. So college ready is another term that a lot of schools use, and that's exactly what it is. If they're college ready, their test scores are going to show that, and their test scores will match what their transcript is. So if you've got a son or a daughter that's getting all A's in everything they've taken, then they're going to wonder, why did they not take the test? And that's kind of where you are. You have to understand that optional doesn't just mean, oh, well, they don't have to. It means, yes, it is an option, but for the students that are going to be seniors this year, they may not have that option to take the test just because of where we are in the testing cycle and the test sites not being available and that type of thing. But I assure you that the SAT is giving tests almost every weekend, and the same thing as ACT. So through the fall, you're going to see, and I don't even know the numbers because it changes daily, but almost every weekend there will be an opportunity for your son or your daughter to take either the ACT or the SAT, for whichever one fits them the best. So I would, if it was my son or my daughter, I would try to make sure that this is done before now. I mean, I think that this probably is a good time to do it. Number one, the testing dates will be available. Number two, they don't have any sports. They're not involved in any in-school activities. They're not training. They're just not doing any of those things. They're not working. They're not staying at school till 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So they have the time, which is a good thing for them. Our seniors that are walking into schools, they don't have any more time. Their time is hoping that they can get a test site, they can sit and take the test. So that's where they are, and that's why a lot of the schools are being, very helpful for these students that weren't able to take the test in the spring. So again, I would definitely be looking at not taking the test. I would be looking at, okay, we need to get serious, and the truth is, the sooner the better. Test aware. So test aware means that if your child is not able to, let's just take a scenario here. So they take the test in spring of their junior year, and they don't get the score that they want, and they're not able to take a test for some reason that is out of their control, whether they're, going or whatever the case may be, and they're just not able to take the test until the fall of their senior year. Well, then they'll let the college know that they are taking the test, and the school will be aware that the test score will be coming. So that's what test aware means. Hopefully you won't need that, but it's really not going to not be something you need to worry about now, because what would happen is that would be for seniors that are letting the colleges know that they are still going to take the test. Test blind means exactly what it is. It's blind. They will never, ever look at the scores. Whether you send them or not, they will never look at them. They will shred them. They just won't even consider them as part of the application. Be mindful. There are very, very, very few that are test blind. I know of about 10 off the top of my head. You might see some changes for 2022, but right now there's not a lot. Test flexible. Now, you might see this again next year, because for your children, for the year 2022, because again, some students, some colleges may say, well, we still understand there were a lot of changes in the year, 2020, 2021, and we might still be test flexible. So let me explain what that means. That means that they still want some type of test. So they will either want a PSAT score, which quite honestly, I'm not sure that that's going to happen this year for your children. I guess we'll all have to wait and see. There's been no word on that yet. So I guess we all have to wait and see. So test flexible means they either want some AP scores, PSAT, pre-ACT, IB scores. They possibly would want a scientific experiment or a writing sample, those types of things. That's what test flexible means. So it means if you're not able to send them a test score, they'll be flexible, but they will let you know what flexibility is. And a lot of schools are doing that this year for the seniors. Michigan is one. There are some other schools that are doing it as well. So you might see some of that for your children that are graduating in 2022. We will have to wait to see. I don't think we will see as much of that in 2022 as we do this year. So if you have any questions about testing, again, put them in the chat room. I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, let's get into the next thing, which is your GPA. And the GPA, again, as I said, is vital. It's the type of classes, it's honors, it's AP, it's a magnet program. There are some magnet programs that are within high schools. And those are something that you want to seek out and see if your child's interested in them. I know of a few, and there are many that I don't know about. So again, I don't want to list them all out because I don't know what high schools your children are coming from. So, but there are opportunities out there for magnet programs within all of the high schools. So the most important thing about GPA and class rigor is class rigor goes both ways. Class rigor can be a child that can be successful in all the APs and all the honors and everything that they're able to accomplish. That's wonderful. That is great. There are some times when this does not happen. I will assure you that if they had honors classes when I was in high school for any type of math, I would have said, absolutely not. I will go in the lowest level that I could possibly have gone in because math is not my thing. So, you know, again, that's where the strength comes in for your child. The other thing that I want to talk about with types of classes is this is a good time for them to see what they like. So for example, if someone is really interested, your son or your daughter says, I really am interested in engineering. I think this is an area I really want to explore. So they should be a pre-engineering class. They should be in the highest math level that they can be in. They should take classes that the school offers that will appeal to a college because they've taken the academic rigor at their high school that will get them ready for an engineering program. Same thing with business. Take microeconomics, take again, math, statistics, any type of financial class, any type of accounting class, anything that the school offers that they're able to take, absolutely do it. Again, it will depend upon your child and what they want and what they like. I always, and I will repeat it again, take the classes they're going to do well and they like and get the good grades. So colleges, let me be clear, when I worked for Clemson, I never ever went through a transcript and said, oh, they took 2 APs in 9th grade, and in 10th grade, they took 2 APs, and in 11th grade, they took 6, and in 12th grade, they took 4. Okay, well, you know, that's 25 or 24. I never counted them. It did not matter. What I looked at was the grade in that class. It did not matter if it said AP on it, not unless they were pulling out B's in every AP they took or C's. And then I counted and then I looked. But it's not a matter of how many, it's a matter of how well you do and how well prepared you are. Because remember that your class, their class rigor prepares them for what they're going to do in college. It's not just to look good, it's preparing, it's preparation, it's getting them ready. And putting them then, having a class that they're not ready to take is not going to help them to be ready for college. It's just going to stress them out and again, give them that complex, like I can't do anything. So that's something to be aware of is, you know, who the teachers are. You know, there are some classes that when I worked at the high schools that I did, I knew the teachers were awesome and I knew that the teachers would be there to guide the students, to help them and to make sure that they did earn that A and that B. And that's again, another big component to it. If your child doesn't mesh with a teacher, then see if there's another way to have another teacher. And again, I know schools would hate me to say that, but, and again, I wouldn't want somebody to come back to me and say, well, I need to change every class because I don't like the teacher. Sometimes, again, the more the student puts into understanding what that teacher wants, then the better they're going to be. The other thing that I will tell you this year for all MCPS classes, they must have some type of study hall or some type of class assistance. So whether How they're going to do that, that's something that your child is going to have to find out. I couldn't begin to tell you, but I do know that every high school has to offer that. Every high school and middle school has to offer help in certain areas. It will all be virtual. And if your child doesn't do well virtually, that's when you're going to have to think outside the box to figure out how to help them. How the classes are going to work, I don't know if you've found out. I certainly haven't found out on my end, but I don't have children in high school anymore, so I haven't learned that. But I will tell you that this is something to make sure that they keep on top of and that you keep on top of are the grades. So last semester, the children could pick whether they wanted to have a letter grade or if they wanted to have a pass and fail. So let's talk about that for a minute, because colleges are not going to say, oh, gee, this child passed a class and then in 11th grade, now they have letter grades. They understand completely. They know they're not alone. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of high schools out there, and many of them went pass fail because they weren't able to give grades. So that's fine. So if that's what your child chose to do last semester, then that's fine. Please don't worry about that unless it's a fail. Then that's something to figure out how to get off of that transcript. But as long as they have a pass, they're fine. And this year, they're not going to do pass-fail, mom and dad, so they are getting grades. So they're gonna have to turn the homework in. They're gonna have to be on Zoom. They're gonna have to participate. From what I have also heard from colleagues that I have in high schools is if they don't have a camera and they don't show their face, they get a warning, and then after 3 times, they will get a 0. So that will not help them at all. So you might want to confirm that with the teachers and the principal at your school, but that's what I'm being told by friends of mine that work at central office. So something to think about. So the essential thing to remember are grades do count. And especially when we are now in the middle of COVID, they are going to look at class, they are going to look at class rigor. And if they don't have test scores, this is all they're going to know is to look at their classes and their grades. Okay, so again, we'll answer any questions about that. And then we're going to move on to the next thing that students can work on and now. Okay, so extracurricular activities. So I know that many of your children are in sports, whether it's soccer, lacrosse, football, whatever the case may be. Maybe they are the president of their political club. Maybe they are the secretary of, my mind went blank there for a minute, but there's so many clubs and extra activities at school, I can't remember them all. But obviously doing things online is not going to be, they're not going to be able to play lacrosse online. However, they can do, building, muscle building, they can do exercising, maybe they do a Zoom exercising with the team. Maybe your son or daughter creates something that again, gets the students together. If they're in a club, Zoom meeting after school, and you still do things as a club. Yes, I know they're not in a school building, but they still organize drives. They could still organize fundraisers. There's a lot of things that we're fortunate that the children can do online. I think about this every day and I think, what would we have done if this would have happened even 5 years ago or 8, 9, 10 years ago? We were nowhere near where we are now in the technology that we have. So there are so many opportunities for your child to do and for them to do it virtually. There are opportunities to do volunteer online. We can reach out to you. There are so many of them, and they're local. There are also opportunities that they can do that they don't have to be done virtually. So here's one thing I do know, that Montgomery County Public Schools are still going to offer free lunch and breakfast and lunch to students that need them. So there are people out there delivering them. So if your child has time and the opportunity, maybe they can go help do that. Maybe they can help a neighbor. Maybe they can do help their younger brother or sister with homework. There are so many things that they can do that aren't just, frivolous things. They may think, well, helping my sister is not really, an extracurricular, Mom. Well, in this day and age and where we are right now, yes, it is. So those activities count, and those activities are going to be very important. They show character, and they show caring, and they show a lot to a college that other things don't show. The other thing that I want you to remember is the colleges don't want them to just shut down and say, well, okay, it's COVID, so I guess can't do anything. Okay, so Netflix, here I come. Well, what was your extracurricular activity? Oh, well, I saw every episode of, I don't even know. It's a life or something. So that's not something we want to write on our activity sheet, and that's not something they're going to like. So I get it. I like Netflix myself. So do we all do. Prime Video, you name it. But this is the time, again, to do something outside of that box and to find a way to be creative, to find a way to continue to do those, and to find things that they like. So it's not a laundry list. It's not a matter of extensive list. It's a matter of contributions and meaningful and things that they love and that they will interact with. You never know. It could bring you, they could find something that they never thought they would have loved before, but now they do. So again, if you need some resources for those, I have them. I'm happy to give them to you. They're all over the website. And again, I would not have them just stop their activities in school. If they find out that their friends are not doing it just because it is virtual, well, then go recruit someone else and have your child take that initiative to go and to make it even better. It does depend upon your child. If they don't want to, I know how hard it is to make them do something they don't want to do, but I've always told children, well, this is your choice, and your choice is, and if you choose not to excel in not only being enlightened about other things in your life, and you don't want to have a different experience and show colleges that you are well-rounded in many different areas, then that's a choice you've made. So I know how hard it is, moms and dads, and it's just not easy to make them do something. But I will tell you that it will make them find something they love, and it will also make them feel really good when they've realized they've helped somebody really achieve a goal that they couldn't achieve. So, okay, so that's enough about extracurriculars. I think you heard me. And the other thing that I will tell you is virtual opportunities are plentiful when it comes to campus visits. So many students, many juniors would love to go on campus and visit their campuses. There are so many seniors that weren't able to do that this past spring. So will your children be able to visit colleges in the spring? I don't know. I don't think any of us can answer that right now. I do think that the colleges are still trying to figure out how to have students on campus just for regular classes. So I know that they're not opening up any campus visits in the fall to students, but I will tell you that there again are some wonderful virtual opportunities out there. And you see them on the screen right now. My favorite is Campus Reel. And the reason I love that virtual videos or what are they called? My mind again just went blank. I apologize, but they're all done by students. These videos, and the students do them. This is not by the college by any stretch, and they show your child and you a different part of the campus that they would never see. So they might show them a dorm room. They might show them, you know, inside of the gym or the lockers, or they might show them, you know, a special place on campus that nobody else would see. There's so many things. They might go and show them a, you know, a sorority or fraternity meeting that they're sitting in. So these are student videos, and they're really, really good. I encourage your children to look at them, especially if they're looking at a school. We will have another college night in January for parents and students, for the actual students that are graduating in 2022. So we will talk about this again, but for students that are really anxious to see some campuses and they know they want to, then I would use the resources here. Campus Reel, UVisit, and eCampus Tours are all very good ones. Every college is also going to have virtual college visits on their website. The other thing that I will tell you, I just found out today, is almost every school in Montgomery County, I'm not sure of exactly which ones, but in the past, there were always college visits, college representatives that would come to the high schools in person to see students and to give them information about their school. And juniors were always invited to attend those. So this year, obviously, school's closed and the representatives can't come. However, they are doing virtual visits to those students specifically at that school. So if your child has a Naviance and has their account, this is something that if they don't have Naviance and you're not familiar with Naviance, please make sure you get in touch with your child's counselor. Please make sure your child talks to their counselor, get your login information, get your password, because Naviance is going to be really, I guess it's just going to be a big help. It's something that I would encourage you to do. Naviance gives you information about schools that you may not have. It also will have all of these virtual campus visits, college visits with the actual representative from that school, and that they will have that listed on their Naviance account. So the student can go in, look at visits on their Naviance, and they sign for those visits right there online. So, and then they will give them the login, and they will be a part of that college visit when it happens. So these are excused. If they do happen during a time when the student's supposed to be in class, the student gets in touch with the teacher and says, I will be attending a virtual college visit with, you know, Greensboro College, whatever the case may be, and they will let their teacher know. Again, every school is going to do this a little differently, so I would reach out to your counselor at your school and find out how they're going to do that. If they don't know how they're going to do that, then I would reach out to the school administrator, because I sat in on a presentation today, and it is available for every school that uses Naviance. This is going to be valuable for you. So if you don't know what Naviance is, please make sure your child and you have this resource and have your password and everything ready, because it's a good resource. When I worked for CPS, I loved using Naviance. It also has career programs that your child can go in and do, and they would help them also see what kind of activities that they would like. It gives them a list of activities, and then it tells them what kind of career they might be something they like. So again, Naviance, make sure you write that one down. Okay, the next thing is we're going to talk about sports recruitment. So I know that this is the year when juniors tend to be recruited and tend to be signed up or can make a commitment. A lot of colleges will say, we know we're going to recruit your son or your daughter to swim or to dive or to play lacrosse or to be our soccer star or whatever the case may be. This is such an uncharted territory that no one knows what's going to happen. I have done extensive research to try to find out, and the honest truth is no one knows. I have a good friend of mine who lives in California. He is a soccer coach for Chapman University, and he doesn't even know. And he said the schools are telling him, you will go on no recruitment trips. You will not do any recruiting until we let you know. So my gut feeling is that is going to be the same way for a lot of sports. Basketball and football may be very different, but when you're talking about a Division II or a Division III school and a sport, I don't know that they're going to have an answer yet. If your child has been recruited or been talking to a coach already in their sophomore year, you probably want to have them reach out to that coach and find out what's going on and if they know anything. If your child wants to play sports in school, again, another thing to reach out and to find out what the coaches are doing. They possibly would want a video. They possibly would want to know if the child has any stats that they can provide them. So this is, again, something that no one is going to know. I think it's going to depend upon the financial situation at the school. I think it's going to depend upon COVID activities. I can tell you that a lot of the sports on campuses are not happening. A young lady that she went to our college boot camp here, and she also was tutored here, and she was recruited to play a sport next year in her college, and she just found out today that this will not be happening. So again, a little disappointing, but it is reality, and unfortunately, I don't think she saw it coming. I don't think her coach saw it coming. So this is something that I think you'll have to take day by day. And I try to tell kids all the time that, you know, by 2022, we will be able to have sports, at least knock on wood, we all hope so. And they should be able to get back to play their sport soon. And, you know, they will be able to enjoy it so much more. I would rather have a child play a sport and have the spectators there to cheer them on than to know that, you know, they're not going to be able to play at all. So I think that this is a day-by-day thing and something that we're not able to predict. I think, let's see, what's our next slide? And I think, okay, so here is your next steps. So fall and winter of 2021 testing, make a testing plan. Be sure to make a testing plan. Your grades, this just is something I cannot stress enough. The grades are going to be critical. Exploring careers, great time to do it. I will tell you, let me give you this resource. It's on the website. It's free. It's called 16personalities.com. And it is a free resource for you, and it's wonderful. It obviously tells your child what kind of personality they have, something you and mom and dad probably already know, but something that they would love to find out is what kind of learner they are, what kind of things that they enjoy. It would give them an idea of what kind of careers might be best for them. So it's a really good research. There's some other ones that are on the website as well that I can, you know, send out. And again, Naviance is a good resource for that as well. Do their research, do their online research. Another couple things to tell the students to do. Look on Facebook, follow a college on Facebook, especially if it's a school that your child has been talking about since 7th grade, have them follow it on Facebook. Have them follow the social media for different activities. Every club, every school has a Twitter page or a Facebook page. So the thing that they want to do is to follow that. Anything on social media, they should be there. The other thing that they can do is Reddit, which I'm sure most of you know what Reddit is, but Reddit will give them a really good idea of what the college is, what activities they have, it's full of information. So that's another thing that they can do, because this is a good time for them to, because they're not playing the sports and they're not out there, in every activity until 9 o'clock at night. They could take an hour and they could do something about exploring schools. The more they know about colleges now, the better off they're going to be in the fall, in the summer and the fall of their senior year. So that's what I would be doing. I would be reading everything. I would be looking at online. I would go to the virtual visits. I would, again, take that time to do it. The virtual volunteering or volunteering in your community when it's safe, then that's fine. Family obligations, things like that, those are going to be really significant for your child, and especially this year. So show the college that, I took this opportunity to do something that I have not been able to do because I have been involved in sports, or I've been involved in theater productions, or I've been involved with whatever it is. So I took this time that I had to do something that I had never done before. And that's what college wants to hear. They would like to see a student that has persevered through this pandemic and has done something then that has been productive for anyone. So spring and summer, let's hope and pray that the kids get to go back to school in January. If they don't, then obviously MCPS will continue to be online. I do believe that there will be testing sites available. The colleges are open, so a lot of these colleges do have testing sites on their campus. There are community colleges that have testing sites. So I do think that there are going to be testing sites available, and I do think this is something that the sooner the better if you can get it done. Again, continue with the grades, continue with the tutoring. Once they will meet with their counselor probably over the fall and the winter, but it probably won't be college related. So the spring of their junior year is when the counselor gets involved. They want to know about writing their letter of recommendation. They will start working with them on their senior schedule. And again, please keep in mind the same thing as I told you before. It's not a matter of how many APs, and it's not a matter of, what the name of the class is. It's a matter of their passion. It's a matter of how well they're going to do. And that's something to keep in mind all the way through this year and next year. So late summer of 2021, that's when college applications will start. We do our boot camp for college applications. I'm positive we're going to still do them. They've been really successful this year. We're pretty much to capacity, and next year we hope to have a little bit more in the class than what we're allowed to have right now. Narrow your college list down will be during the summer. If you have to go see college visits because they weren't going to be available in the spring, then obviously walking on a campus is something that I always encourage if possible. And then of course testing if it's necessary. Let's hope that it's not, because doing testing in the fall of your senior year makes things a little bit, I guess, dicey for kids, just because they're so busy doing applications, they're so busy trying to keep up with their grades, and then going and doing testing. Now, don't get me wrong, there are many, many, many children and students and families that testing doesn't work out for them during their junior year, and they have to do it in the fall of their senior year. But hopefully with talking and working and knowing what needs to be done. And if you're talking to your friends, the sooner the better. So we had students in that did their testing in the last year. I say last year, but I meant in the fall of 2020, excuse me, we're in the fall of 2020 and the fall of 2019, and they're seniors this year and they're ready. They have their test scores, they're ready to go. So they don't have to worry about them, and they didn't hit through the pandemic. So they've got scores that they were testing that they were able to do in December, and now they have scores and they're ready to send them. So again, that's who your children will be competing against. If for some reason the school is test optional, they're still going to be competing with kids that have already taken the test. So keep that in mind, that test optional for the year of 2022 is not going to be what it is for the year of 2021. Okay, I think that's about it. I believe we're wrapping up here. And we've told students, you know, you've got this. I know online learning is not as easy for some students as it is for others. However, it is what it is. We have to wrap it around our head that this is what's going to happen, and we need to make it the best that we possibly can. Now that we know, we've dealt with it all last semester, now we know it's going to happen, and we know that it's not going to be pass-fail. So these classes are going to be critical for the kids to pass. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. We will, Jeremy, if you've got them ready, that's great. I'll turn it back to you and we'll go from there. Jeremy, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I think the only question that we've had so far is someone was looking to get a little bit of explanation about how honors programs might differ from regular programs regarding applications, and maybe if you could talk a little bit about anything about Maryland.
Sure. So honors programs are specifically for students that have risen above in their academics, have very, very good grades, have excellent test scores. That's what they're looking for in an honors program. Some schools you have to do an extra essay, might even be an extra interview. Some schools it's not. Some schools it's you apply and you automatically are considered for honors. However, I will tell you that almost every honors program that I have seen are always the students that are at the very top of the class. And I would say the top 10%, that's probably what I would look at. And 10% at one school is going to be totally different than the top 10% at another school. And I understand that schools, the high schools don't rank, but there is a percentage where they are, and that's on the school profile, and I can certainly talk to more people about that, but there is a way to know if your child's in that top 10%. So again, academics and test scores are going to be the way to get into an honors program. Did that help? Did that answer that? You're still on mute, Jeremy. Jeremy, you're still on mute.
Oh, sorry. Clicking the button and it's not working. I think that's the only question we had. Did you have any on your end?
I see chat 5. Let's see. See what I have. Thank you. Okay. Thanks for all the information. Okay. So recommendation letters. So getting recommendations in their junior year, I would not do it in their sophomore year. For teachers from their sophomore year, no, it would always be their junior year. So this is a good year to, see which teacher they love the best, or they get along with the best, or someone that's challenged them the most. And that would be a teacher that they would turn to, but that wouldn't be until the spring of their junior year. So believe me, the teachers would not want to hear from your son or daughter right now about a letter of recommendation, because they're probably busy doing the seniors. But yes, it will be in the spring of your child's junior year. Okay, let me see what else we have. Yeah, I think that's it, Jeremy, that I can see.
I got one more. Asking if there are any good resources for finding volunteer or online internship programs.
Yes, a lot. And we can put that up on our website. There's so many, I couldn't even begin to count them all, but there are a lot. There are a lot in the area, and there are a lot that are outside of the area. So yes, I can put a whole link on our website. Jeremy, is that okay if I send that to you?
Yeah, and I think what we'll do is we'll include links for everything that Wendy talked about tonight in the email that goes out tomorrow with the video, and that'll just make it in one place
Okay.
so you can access it.
Okay. Yes, because I see, the other websites that are needed, so that's fine. I am happy to do that because yes, I think the more resources you have for your child, the better. Anything else? I don't see anything on my end, Jeremy. No, that's about what I see. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming, and I hope this information helped you, and we look forward to meeting and talking with you soon.